This programme was made with support from the National Lottery Heritage Fund. On the Heritage Channel tonight, young changemakers, new funding for community projects and the beauty of an ancient waterway. Welcome to the Heritage Channel, where we explore the fascinating history and heritage of North East Lincolnshire. A new initiative led by Grimsby-based charity Our Future will see part of the £20 million Pride of Place money used to fund a range of community projects chosen by the community.
Growing Together has come from years of work in the community. It's the Pride in Place money that is coming into Grimsby, but we hope that's not all it'll be. That is the beginning of it, and what we've tried to do is work with the local community to establish a way for the people of Grimsby to make the decisions about how that money is spent, which I think is brilliant. There will be a big pot available for the big projects, the kind of capital spend. Later this year we'll be launching a Strengthen and Grow pot, which is designed to support existing propositions and projects in the area. But right now, while we get all of the mechanisms and governance in place for those, we are starting with our test phase, which is called Give It a Go. And Give It a Go is designed to spark new ideas and springboard ideas that people have had that they just don't have the funding for. So there's £45,000 available this round, and applicants can apply for up to £10,000 for a project. The really exciting part of Give It a Go is the way the projects are decided. As well as taking applications for funding, we are taking applications for decision makers, which is the real key thing that makes this so beautiful, I think.
Littlecoats Primary Academy in Grimsby are looking to the heritage that surrounds them to learn more about the natural world by creating a wildlife pond in the only green space in a deprived urban community. What would it mean to children in a deprived urban community to have a wildlife pond where they could learn in the natural environment?
So this is the only natural green space in this deprived urban community, and it's not only important for our children, it's also important for the wider community too. We want to create another habitat and increase biodiversity. We really want our children to experience learning outdoors in the natural environment.
In our pond we're going to have tadpoles which will turn into frogs.
We want a pond because we can attract loads of insects.
Our pond will attract lots of birds like robins, crows and even pigeons. Please help us get a pond.
We want a pond because it can help us in our science lessons.
We want a pond because we can do more learning outdoors, like pond dipping and seeing all of these amazing species in real life.
Please, help us get a pond!
Help the children of Littlecoats Academy realise their dream to have a wildlife pond by giving generously to their crowdfunder appeal.
Please help us get a pond.
You can help the children of Littlecoats Primary Academy realise their dream by donating on the crowdfunder link below. Last month we looked at the work of a local trust that maintains and conserves the Louth Navigation Canal. This month we explore the beauty of this ancient waterway with artist Trevor Boundford. The Navigation Canal wends its way from the sleepy market town of Louth across the Lincolnshire countryside by Austin Fen and Tetney Haven before crossing the salt marshes of the coastal plain to join the Humber estuary near the Humberston Fitters. Opened in 1770, it carried corn and wool from the farms of Lincolnshire, bringing coal from Yorkshire on the return journey. Closed in 1924 after the Great Flood, the lock gates have long since gone, often replaced by tilting weirs, but the remaining stretches, towpath and route of the canal, now conserved by the Louth Navigation Trust, has retained much of its integrity. We joined artist Trevor Bamford on the 11-mile journey to explore the beauty of this ancient waterway, which has been captured in a series of watercolour paintings and a beautifully illustrated book.
I was invited to exhibit at the Riverhead Theatre, and it seemed an obvious choice to me, given it's called the Riverhead Theatre. And I'd been sketching around the Riverhead warehouse where the Navigation Trust is based. I thought that it would be good to do a series of sketches illustrating both the state of the canal in its renovated state and talk a little in the book about the history of the canal. It is a subtle beauty, or has an extraordinary subtle beauty. It's a piece of industrial archaeology sitting in the countryside, and it's always struck me since I first came to live in Louth as being a marvellous subject for a series of paintings. So it seemed obvious to start the journey at the Riverhead area in Louth, where the two historic buildings, the former warehouses, stand, one of which accommodates the offices of the Navigation Trust, and thereon to illustrate various points along the navigation which were of either pictorial interest or historic interest or just nice views. The next point that I illustrated was the tilting weir, which replaces a former lock that would have been the sort of outlet, as it were, from the Riverhead area. Now it's a tilting weir, literally it tilts as a way of controlling the flow of water. And it was a fantastic, vibrant illustration, a challenge to catch. Illustrating running water is quite a challenge. I think I managed to illustrate something of the energy in the water in the illustration. The next subject I chose was to illustrate the curved walls here at Ticklepenny Lock. The curved walls are unusual, as I understand it, and they were quite, again, a bit of a challenge to illustrate, given there is brickwork in perspective working around a curve, and also the reflections of the brickwork in the water. After Ticklepenny Lock, I moved on to Lock Farm and the fascinating inverse siphon that is employed there, or was employed, to deliver water from one side of the canal to the other.
From the bridge at Albingham, you can look back along the canal and see the spire of St James Church in the distance. Ships would travel under sail or be towed by horses, leaving mast, sails and lee boards at Tetley Lock to lighten the load. As we follow the towpath towards Austin Fen, the canal bends north at High Bridge, which was once a swing bridge, to allow the high-masted vessels to pass through. As we approach Austin Fen, Canal Farm, believed to have been built in the 19th century, can be seen on the western bank. At Austin Fen, the 18th century warehouse can be seen to the right of the bridge, which would once have had a turning basin and wharf for vessels serving the local community.
So now we're at Austin Fen. This is one of my favourite spots. I did two pictures here, one of the cottages further upstream, but I was quite taken with the view of this warehouse, which is an 18th century warehouse. It was built very early in the history of the canal. And just beyond the warehouse, which you can't see from here, is the slipway, which has opened up a new area of activity for paddleboarders and canoeists. But I was particularly taken, as I say, with the view of the warehouse, which is it's a listed building. But given the location, which is about halfway along the canal, there must have been a lot of activity commercial activity with local farmers shipping out grain from this point, and of course things like fertiliser being brought in for the use on the farms. The house you can see to the right, which has been recently renovated, was formerly a pub, and there were of course a number of public houses set along the banks of the navigation, and they would have served as meeting points for the various people who were either using the canal or providing services like towing boats from one point to another. They wouldn't tow them the whole length of the canal, they would do sections. And so this was almost like a posting house. If you're planning to visit the Louth Navigation, this is certainly one place not to miss. So here we are at Tetney Lock. The pub obviously was built at the time of the building of the canal and would have been to serve the workers on the canal, and it would have been a stage, like the other pubs along the canal, a sort of staging post. So this is where if they needed a horse to pull a barge along, this is where they would pick one up, or drop off if they're going the other way. The bridge, the road bridge, which you can see now, was built I think in the 1960s, and it would have previously had been a swing bridge, enabling the masted ships to pass through obviously easily. So the lock itself is long gone. The name Tetney Lock remains. There is further along, as we go towards the coast, there is Tilting Weir, which controls the flow of water. Beyond, also over the other side of the bridge, is where we'd find the Coast Guard cottages. It seems strange to have Coast Guard cottages at a point which seems so far inland, but at the time they were built, the coast was much closer. Land drainage has extended the farmland, obviously put the coastline that bit further away. But the Coast Guard cottages still stand, along with a small Victorian chapel. Probably the last point of civilization if you're sailing out, or the first point if you're coming in, before you reach the Humber itself. What I discovered were a number of views along the navigation which might be worthy of representation, but it's always good to have some point of interest, and a point of human interest obviously is a dwelling or a barn or a warehouse. And I thought this was a particularly attractive arrangement of buildings beside the canal.
The Tilting Weir that replaced the original lock gates marks the end of the navigation canal, but the seawater channel continues its journey across the salt marshes of the coastal plain to join the estuary of the Humber River near the Humberston Fitters. Trevor's original watercolour paintings will be on display in the Hammond House Gallery in Louth during July, where you can also buy copies of his book with illustrations, maps and notes of places of interest along the way. The recent TV documentaries that suggested there was nothing for young people to do in Grimsby, no alternative provision to mainstream education and no job opportunities and no future, failed to mention the Horizon Youth Zone, Centre 4, the Trim, Climb 4, Target NEL and many more people and organisations making a change in their local communities. We went along to meet some of them and set the record straight. Our Changemaker series celebrates the work of people in North East Lincolnshire who are making a difference in their communities. In this episode, we celebrate the work of some of the local organisations providing services and support.
11 years ago, they took on this space. It was an old secondary school, converted it into a community centre, wanted it to be a hub for everything, where anybody locally and the wider North East Lincolnshire population could come and access any support, community activity, social activity. We're having 14 tenants on site as well, who are permanent residents on site. Most of those are voluntary sector VCSE organisations. Can walk in and access whatever support it is that they need, and it's such a variety of support that we offer.
Plan 4 is a creative organisation that's a social enterprise that supports vulnerable families, children, young people with their mental health and wellbeing through a number of different creative activities. So we do different things through learning and development, mental health and wellbeing, and then youth and communities. So we do a bit of everything.
Here at the Trin we run 21 hours of youth activities each week. In that we incorporate different activities from sport to youth clubs to cooking clubs. Everything we do is young person led. They tell us what they want, and if we can accommodate it then we will. I think when young people are coming to us with problems, whether that be at home or at school, they know that they've got a safe space to come to and that they've got people here that they can talk to openly.
So our offices are based here at Centre 4. We came here deliberately to be sort of co-located with other organisations and with the landlord itself, have very similar aims to us. We are an education provider, so we're a specialist SEN provider for Key Stage 3 upwards, so we'll take pupils from 11 and then we'll support them right through to 24. We run a youth club on this ward. We'll obviously be taking advantage of the new facilities here. And then we do lots of sort of school holiday activities, giving opportunities to young people whose families wouldn't normally be able to provide.
We run a project called Career Shift, which is a North East Links Council project, and we have people that come on there to find work. One of the things they do is they're introduced into volunteer placements and opportunities. Some of those happen to be at Target. They go and do training for Train to Employ at Target. They then do some volunteer hours.
And I started to deliver my Train to Employ programme, and this enabled me to also create some really lovely projects, such as taking the children out on canoes and paddle boards, and just do a whole host of activities that they wouldn't be able to do, whether they were SEND, whether they were children who were looked after. We did that with the foster team, and children who are young carers, so they're looking after people within their household themselves. We met all these people and we started to meet more and more needs, and it's just grown and grown.
And it's just developed into something phenomenal. And it's not just the children that she supports, it's the families to help the children, it's the adults around them, and it's just gone from strength to strength.
So it's an opportunity for young people to try new things, to make new friends, to build confidence, and they get to do all sorts of different things, but it's their choosing what they want to do. So there's 4 elements to the Duke of Edinburgh's Award: volunteering, skills, physical and expedition. And the young people choose what they want to do in each section. So it's a very individual award.
I think the difference that makes for the community is providing them with a safe space. So when we talk about our very local community, it is somewhere where people know that they can come together for social activity, social connection, they can meet other people. People in our local community can be very, very isolated for many, many reasons. So when you walk through the door, we have a team of volunteers and a team who are able to signpost you or just welcome you and just say hello. On his farm at the back as well, so huge amounts of footfall comes through there. So lovely little urban farm for the community to use.
We were just doing baby groups, holiday clubs, and then we ventured into doing things like peer support, Inspire Youth Theatre programme, which is our programme which is based on making the arts accessible for all. Besides that, I also support the volunteers, offering them our Step Up personal development course, and deliver that with them and support them through the process, offer them opportunities in terms of our different pathways into sessional work and eventually employment.
And all of the projects that we run ourselves, as well as all of the partners on site, a lot of it is around people's health and well-being. We do a lot around community engagement, a lot around people's health and well-being and how people feel connected with their community and how they're coping themselves, particularly financially, especially at the moment.
A series of after-school clubs in partnership with Hammond House Productions and the Heritage Channel will give more young people the chance to become young filmmakers. You can book your place now by calling 0755 3011 393. In other heritage news, a service to commemorate the victims of the butterfly bomb attack on Grimsby in 1943 will be held at Grimsby Minster on the 14th of June. A small exhibition of materials and memories will be on display at People Make Grimsby in Freshney Place until the 20th of June. A recent trip to Grimsby by His Majesty King Charles included visits to Horizon Youth Zone, Grimsby Town Football Club to meet local leaders, and the new Care Community Hub on Victoria Street, where vulnerable people are supported in a nurturing and inspiring environment. The Rabbit Hole Bookshop is a new addition to our big picture on Bethlehem Street. This award-winning quirky community space, relocated from Brig, offers reading for every age and taste and much, much more. Work is starting this month on the restoration of the main house at Wheelsby Hall, which will be sympathetically renovated and repurposed as a care training centre and offices for Linkage Community Trust. The Tea Cake Mystery on the 4th of July celebrates the opening of a new community bookshelf in Sussex Pavilion, Cleethorpes, with cake, tea and a mystery paperback. Organised by National Year of Reading ambassadors Sandra Stewart, Katie Hopper and Jessica Johnson, they are hoping to hold more community reading events throughout the year. Inspired by Stuart Wood's highly successful Postcards from Cleethorpes, Postcards from Louth will encourage people of all ages to create their own postcards to send greetings to friends and relatives. The project is part of a range of new initiatives at the gallery supported by the local council that includes adult art workshops, children's art groups during the summer holidays and exhibitions of art by local schoolchildren. And finally, Festival of the Sea returns to Grimsby Riverside on Saturday the 20th of June to celebrate the town's proud maritime heritage and world-leading seafood industry. A vibrant programme of entertainment, activities and food experiences for all the family. Well, that's all from the Heritage Channel team tonight. If you have a heritage story to tell, contact us on the link below. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you next month for more heritage news, views and local stories. This programme was made with support from the National Lottery Heritage Fund.